Welcome everyone, my name is Sarah and I'm a dietetics major.
And my name is Allison and I'm a nutrition minor. And we're excited to show you a new recipe today. We've been talking about how chips make such a great snack, but they're so unhealthy and they're kind of expensive. So we're wanting to show you how to make some chips on your own.
The main thing that chips are so unhealthy is because of the high content of sodium and saturated fat. So we decided to make some homemade so then you know what's going into it when you eat it.
That's right. So we're going to show you how to make homemade, healthy baked tortilla chips.
So we got our hair pulled back, our hands washed, and we're ready to go. So the first thing we need to do is preheat your oven to 350 degrees. The reason why we do this for this recipe, because you need to have the oven nice and heated so it cooks the chips fully, so they're nice and crisp. Next, we need to get our tortilla shells out.
Is there a certain kind they should use?
Either you can go to the grocery store and buy whole grain tortilla shells, or go to the cupboard or fridge wherever you have your leftovers from previous times to use. And the best to buy is corn tortillas because they're the least expensive, but you can still get your whole grains.
Sounds good. So get out your cutting boards, your seasoning, and your oil, and let's get started.
So first, I'm going to grab a tortilla shell. Then I'm going to get out my oil, which we use canola oil because of the low saturated fat. Then I'm going to lightly coat both sides of the shell. And you want to make sure that you get both sides pretty well so then the seasoning will stick to the shell.
And next we're actually going to put on some seasoning. And today we're using Mrs. Dash's Southwest Chipotle seasoning. And we like it because all of her seasonings are salt-free and because they're just full of flavor. And another thing that we found when we were putting this lesson together is that most store-bought chips have at least 150 milligrams of sodium per serving. And since this seasoning doesn't have any, our chips are going to be very healthy compared to store-bought chips. So I'm just going to go ahead and put on a very light layer. Should I do both sides?
You can do whatever you want since we're using Mrs. Dash and it's sodium free. And you can use any of Mrs. Dash's seasoning because they all are sodium free. But you can also use chili powder or garlic powder as well. You just need to use less since there's already sodium in the product.
Sounds good.
Next, I'm going to use a paring knife to cut the tortilla shells into 6 to 8 small slices so that you can get little chips.
You can also use a pizza cutter. And it's really easy to remember the serving size because one serving is actually one tortilla chip, and as she stated, that's about 6 to 8 chips depending on how you decide to cut it.
That's right. So by this time, your oven should be totally preheated and we're ready to go.
Sounds good. So we're going to go ahead and put them onto our cookie sheet. And you don't need to grease the cookie sheet because we already put a little oil on the chips. And you want to make sure that you put them on the middle rack so they cook nice and evenly. How long do they cook?
They cook about 10 to 12 minutes, and you want to make sure that you check it periodically because you don't want to get it too dark. So what they're supposed to look like is supposed to be a golden brown when they're perfectly done, and take them out immediately.
Another thing you can do to make them more exciting is sprinkle your favorite cheese on top.
That sounds good. Actually, I made some earlier. Do you want a bite?
Sure. They look so pretty too with all the seasonings on them. Sarah, these are good.
Thanks. But make sure that you put them in an airtight container so then they're fresh for next time.
All right, so now we've learned how to make a simple and healthy recipe for your whole family. And I can think of many uses for these chips. I mean, you can make a taco salad with them or just use them for a snack with, salsa, which would be also really healthy.
My favorite is crumbling them over on a homemade chili.
That does sound good. But the best thing is that these are really healthy.
Well, thanks for joining us. We had a lot of fun.
Once again, my name is Allison, and this is Sarah, and we hope you've learned a healthy recipe that you can use with your family. Goodbye.
This has been a production of South Dakota State University Cooperative Extension Service, featuring students from the Nutrition Department. For more information on healthy eating tips, recipes, and cost-saving resources, please contact your local Extension office.